to our show, Serving Carroll, a program that focuses on growing local, buying local, and giving local. I'm your host, and my name is Cindy Parr. I'm the Executive Director of Human Services Programs for Carroll County. Today, we'll talk with some vendors about the benefits of using local ingredients. Then Chef Todd Bricken from Brick Ridge Restaurant will cook up some tasty meals using items that are readily available at local farms. And finally, we'll tell you about local nonprofit programs that are serving Carroll County residents. But right now, let's head out to Mount Airy to see what's cooking.
My name's Todd Bricken. I own a Brick Ridge Restaurant. Today we're going to show you a couple menu items that we have at the restaurant. We try to use local farms and produce markets as much as possible. Today we're going to work at Knill Farm, and we're going to produce a peach chutney that goes on pork, chicken, or fish. Right now we're serving it on a pork dish at the restaurant. We're also going to do a tomato pie, which is really great for this time of year. I know everybody probably has to figure out what to do with all their extra tomatoes and whatnot. It's just a great menu item to use. Very simple, quick, and tasty. All right, so I'm going to begin with a peach sauce, and that's going to cook for a little while. So I'm going to start with that, and we're going to start with some fresh peppers and shallots. These are from Knill Farm, and we have some nice diced red bell peppers, some yellow. It gives a nice little color. We have some chopped shallots here already. So we'll start with the shallots, and we're using about 2 tablespoons of chopped shallot. A shallot's a type of onion that adds a nice flavor to dishes. Put in our chopped up peppers. Now you can use dried peppers if you off season, you know, wintertime, if you don't have fresh bell peppers around. We actually do use some dried peppers occasionally. This is a little bit of dried chilies cut up with a little bit of chili seeds. Adds a little bit of spice to the contrast. And then next we have sugar. And we'll have all these recipes for you to look at later. All right. All right, so we're gonna just sweat or soften up the peppers and shallots a little bit with the sugar. Get a little flavor in there, a little bit of color. And then we're going to go ahead and add the peaches. So we have some fresh peaches. These are yellow, but they also have white peaches available here. And basically, we're just going to cook all this down until it makes a nice sauce. And this is just a little bit of peach nectar I get at the grocery store. It's basically just peach juice. All right. And I'm going to cover it. We're just going to let this cook for about 15 or 20 minutes while we're doing the tomato demonstration. I'm going to reduce my heat down to about medium. All right. Okay, so next we're going to do a tomato casserole. And we're going to use a 9 or 10 inch cake pan is the easiest thing. You can use Pyrex if you like. So we'll start here with that. We're going to slice up some tomatoes. And these, we tend to buy the really juicy, ripe tomatoes in the summer, which is great because that's about the time you want to get rid of them. You know, they're sitting around the house and they're starting to get soft. You're not sure what to do with them. So we'll go ahead and we use the really ripe tomatoes actually. And we're slicing about 3 slices to an inch, or for a medium tomato, 7 or 8 slices per tomato. And we just leave the core out. We're going to use about 2 pounds of tomatoes for this dish. Any kind of tomato is fine. You can use yellow, red, anything you have available. You can mix them for a little bit of color contrast. All right. So we're going to start with some breadcrumbs. This is 2 cups of dry breadcrumbs. We're just going to sprinkle a few in the bottom of the pan. And that's going to basically keep everything from sticking in the pan. And then we're going to begin layering the tomatoes in the pan. So you have a nice complete layer in the bottom, right? I brought some fresh herbs today, but I actually already measured out all my dried herbs. But this is fresh basil from our garden. This is a tarragon, oregano. And some people like a little bit of thyme, fresh thyme. It's not actually in the recipe, but it does add a nice earthiness to your foods. Right, so next, I have 4 eggs. I'm going to crack these eggs. And then I'm going to add some half and half to that. And then I have all my dried herbs. This is salt, pepper, tarragon, dill, basil, and oregano. Just a basic nice blend of spices. Next we're going to layer some breadcrumbs and cheese. So on top of this first layer, I'm going to sprinkle the next third of my breadcrumbs. What this is going to do is keep the tomatoes from, as they cook, to give out a little bit of juice. And basically, the breadcrumbs is going to sort of hold everything together and keep everything from being too wet. This is shredded Parmesan cheese and Swiss cheese mixed, and that goes on top next. Now at this point, we're going to use our egg and herb mixture. So you just pour that evenly over the tomatoes. Typically you want to whip these up a little bit until they're a little more mixed. So then we'll start again with one more layer of tomatoes. And you can go 3 or 4 layers if you'd like. I'm just doing 2 today just because I have a shallow pan. Sometimes we do a little bit thicker. All right, so you want to press everything down in there so it's nice and even. And then I'm going to use the last third of my breadcrumbs and a little bit of more cheese. This basically is going to turn out kind of like a lasagna without pasta. All right, now you're going to wrap this in foil. I usually spray my foil just so it doesn't stick to the cheese. There's nothing worse when you take a nice casserole out of the oven, pull the foil off, and all the cheese comes with it. But basically, you're going to put that in the 350-degree oven. I bake this cover for about 30 minutes, and then I uncover it, put it back in the oven for about another 10 to 15 minutes till it's just nice and brown. Then I pull it out of the oven, let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can slice it. And this is the finished product here. I brought a finished product with me from the restaurant. You could just slice this like you would any kind of pie, and it really, really makes a nice dish that goes along with just about anything, or you can eat it alone. All right, at this point, we'll check on the peaches. These fresh peaches are giving out a lot more water than I'm used to, so we'll let this stay uncovered for a while, and that'll hopefully thicken up a little bit and reduce the juice down. And we'll just let that cook for a while.
Been in their family since 1940. We've been so blessed in this country to have good food from one end of the country to the other, but there's still an appreciation of local. Why do we want to buy something that's 2,500 miles away and it's got to be shipped and banged around when you can buy it local?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I use local produce. Obviously we're out here somewhat of a rural area, and it's nice to work with local people. We try to support each other. I do a lot of work with Knill Farm here. We've been working together 12 years. Bill and Jim are the father-son team that operate the farm. Been here for generations. Most of my customers are also their customers, so it's great to work together. So today we used some of the local yellow peaches. We also used their tomatoes. And again, I said the fresh herbs are from the restaurant. We have a nice little garden in the back. But it's just nice to keep everybody working together. I see a lot of my regular customers up here. I come up 2 or 3 days a week and walk through the produce, take a look at everything, see what's available. We try to create some menu items each week around what's available here at the farm. And I think my customers really appreciate that. All right, peaches are still cooking, they're just about finished. But again, you can reduce these down to whatever consistency that would work best for you. Sometimes you're serving fish or chicken or even a pork. You like things cooked a little bit different. So it's really up to your discretion. They are fully cooked now, nice and soft, sweet. There's a little bit of spice contrast in there with all the fresh herbs and peppers and whatnot we used. It's just a nice, well-balanced sauce. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stove, pour them out into the bowl, and let you take a look at them. Now, like I said before, this would thicken up a little bit more with time. Again, if you want a nice lighter sauce, you can leave it thinner like that or just continue to cook until that moisture evaporates. So I think that's it for today. Thank you very much.
We're open 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and 10 to 4 on Sunday. We will be open all the way through October. We usually open up around the last of April, and until our own stuff comes in. We usually have some greens, and lettuces, rhubarb, and asparagus comes in first, and we get stuff from the market until our own stuff comes in. Then we'll shut down, but then we open back up after Thanksgiving with Christmas trees.
Nonprofits play an important role in the preservation and vibrancy of a community. In the spirit of community, all across this nation, people come together to help those in need. It is inherent in Americans to step up and take care of their less fortunate. We have such an agency here in Carroll County, HSP. HSP is a robust nonprofit whose mission is to improve the quality of life and self-sufficiency of our low-income and at-risk residents. This year, HSP is celebrating 25 years of service to the Carroll community. Our clients number right around 9,000, and with a staff of 78 people, more than half who work part-time, we depend greatly upon the help we receive from our volunteers. More than 450 volunteers engage our clients through some 20 programs. Our volunteer effort is so large and important, we have a dedicated volunteer coordinator who works daily to keep our programs fortified with volunteer support.
HSP is a community action agency. We're part of a national partnership of over 1,000 community action agencies that their responsibility is to effect change and improve their communities at a base level. HSP's mission is to improve the quality of life for our county's at-risk and low-income population. We do that by helping with basic needs, advocacy, and linkages to resources. HSP runs 5 shelters all year long and a 6th shelter in cold weather season from November 15th to March 31st every year. We also do casework and case management here in Family Links. Clients who may not know what resources are available to them in the county can come here and meet with a case manager and find out the things that they may be eligible for that they didn't know. We also deal with emergency assistance, that can be energy assistance for those who are on low income and get direct assistance with paying their energy bills. Also, if they have eviction or utility turnoff notices, we deal with those issues in emergency assistance. We also have a family center here that teaches parenting skills to the families that are enrolled. And while those parents are in classes, we supervise their children, and then we also supervise activities for the parents with the children. What I enjoy telling people is that whatever you would like to do to volunteer, I can virtually guarantee that we can find a place for you to do it at HSP. Our program is so deep and we offer so many services to our clients that I am committed to finding what it is that you really like to do and find a way for you to do it here. You can be involved in direct client contact. An example would be our cold weather shelter. That shelter runs from November 15th to March 31st, and it is run primarily through volunteers. Volunteers do the entire check-in procedure for all the clients, and they prepare, serve, and clean up the meal every night. That's 7 nights a week. So you can have direct exposure to clients and feel as if you're actually making a difference in someone's life today in that minute. Or if that's not really your cup of tea and you'd rather be behind the scenes, you can be engaged in any of our programs in general program support. You could be assisting case managers in their file management. You could be assisting the community relations director with our website and our Facebook and our constant contact emails. You could be preparing a meal for clients who are in the women's shelter. On Saturday morning, you could prepare breakfast for them and serve it. Or if you would rather work with children, you could be an assistant in the family center, or you could come in and do an activity with kids that are in the women's shelter. We understand they are being very generous to donate their time, so it's very important to us that they get as much out of their volunteer experience as we get from what they are giving us. So I spend a lot of time meeting volunteers. I spend a lot of time talking with them to find out the kinds of things that they're interested in, to find out what their strengths are, and to really make a good match for them with programs that are in HSP. We had over 450 volunteers at HSP last year. It equates to an insurmountable number of volunteer hours. We could not exist in our program without the volunteers that we weave throughout the fabric of everything that we do. There are so many people who the small contributions that they make every day help the staff accomplish their jobs. I think what keeps them coming back is the work that we do, that they get to see the depth of our program. Our target market is low-income, at-risk population. But what we do for that client is so deep in service that once you volunteer at HSP, you realize that everything we do is impacted by the volunteers who help us. And when you see the direct result of your volunteer effort, I think that's the thing that makes you come back. We have an incredible volunteer. She works at our front desk. When we decided that she was going to volunteer at the front desk, she wasn't sure that that's where she wanted to be. First 2 days, she's like, I don't know if I like this. I said, okay, do it for a week. By the end of the first week, when I went back to check on her again, she's like, I really like this. So she leaves on Friday, and I think she'll be back. You know, I think that she saw something that she didn't even think that she would like to do, and she's having a direct impact on clients every day. She interacts with them every day at the front desk.
Oh, we actually have a thing. Thank you.
As the economy has tightened, hence funding has tightened, and HSP is a nonprofit organization. We're a very large nonprofit, the largest in the county, but we're at risk. We do get cuts in funding because of the current climate of the economy. It's a double-edged sword because as budgets are being tightened and we're losing funding, demand for services is going up because there are more and more people who are out of work or underemployed that need assistance with basic needs. So as we're losing money, we're having to fill a greater demand. We try to span that gap with volunteers. If you have got a group that's looking for a service opportunity, Month of Sundays is a good opportunity for you to come get a few hours together and have some team building for yourself at the same time. Month of Sundays concert series is a partnership that we have with the Westminster City and Carroll County Parks and Recs programs. Every Sunday evening in the month of July, we offer a free concert in the park at City Park. The only thing that we ask is for patrons to bring a donation of a personal care item or paper goods or baby food and diapers. We ask for that donation at the gate, and we do take a free will donation at intermission. That concert's run by volunteers. We use a cadre of volunteers, about anywhere from 7 to 15 people, depending on the day, to man the entrance gate, accepting donations and then sorting them as they come in, and then also passing the bucket during admission and being on site just to run interference and help the program manager that day to run those concerts. If you're just looking for a project to work on, Month of Sundays and Neighbors in Need are probably the things for you. Then we have the cold weather shelter, which is a longer commitment. We ask that if you're going to be a part of a group that's doing a meal, that you do one night a month. Some of our clients who are in shelter do end up being volunteers. We just got a phone call from a woman who came out of shelter a few months ago, and I ultimately ended up referring her to the Neighbors in Need coordinator. Neighbors in Need is a community giving program that runs every year during the holiday season. Anyone in the community who is in need, they can apply to be adopted for the holiday season, to have their entire family adopted. And then we solicit volunteers from the community to adopt families or individuals who are in need, and we pair them up that way. Any of the families that are not adopted, they are allowed to shop in our Neighbors in Need store. That's open for a few days right before the holidays. So we employ a cadre of volunteers that come in and help us sort all the donations that come in over the fall and holiday season. They sort everything, they arrange the store, they prep the store, it is run like a store, and then they also work as volunteers in the store on the hours that we're open, giving customer service. Second Chances is Carroll County's only free store. That store is open 2 days a week, and clients, anyone in the community, can come to HSP and get a shopping pass. And with that shopping pass, you can go on the days that the store is open, and you are allowed to take one grocery bag full for every member of your household. There's no other store in the county that is doing that service for free. The store is run through volunteers who participate in a job readiness program called Opportunity Works. That program engages those volunteers to run the entire operation of Second Chances. They do everything from receiving the donations on the dock to giving the receipt for those donations, sorting the donations and deciding what is appropriate inventory for the free store out front, managing all of the inventory in the back, stocking all of the shelves, sorting all of the clothes. The store encompasses clothing for every member of your household. There are also toys, games, and books for children, and a variety of household goods. The clients are able to shop for whatever their basic family needs are in that store, and they don't have to pay for anything that they take with them. The volunteers in that program are running that entire operation as volunteer hours. There's only one paid staff member in that operation. The program manager's name is Jenny. She supervises all of the volunteers in that job readiness program. So they are working on their hard skills as far as inventory management, customer service. But they're also working on soft skills as far as dependability, attitude, and responsibility and initiative. Another avenue for that store is their eBay business. They take items that come in that may not be appropriate for a low-income or client that's moving out of shelter into permanent housing. All of the proceeds from eBay go directly back into the Opportunity Works program to nurture and assist that program to help the clients who shop at the store.
This is so good.